So that is, you can hear the stream output itself, where it's like it's all said and done, how it sounds when it's live. When that headset from the Trackcaster before it goes live. So I haven't actually used that setup yet. So you'll compare them and see how it is, and then we can adjust on the fly. So downfall, he does have a bit of an open opportunity, and he is.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Ooh, infill pass.
Oh, yes,
Nice.
that was excellent play out of Condors.
Now, forward, but he can't get away from it. Slightly takes him down in the backside of the fight. One goes down as well. Koch gets taken down. And look, with the Siren just flash away, still alive. But now here comes the four-man shockwave. But doesn't even matter because Fort's the field back.
Well, here we are. I didn't think we would make it here, but I always had the faith. Even if we didn't have the peer-reviewed research showing that we can make it here, we had the faith. Kind of like how League players always have faith in CLG, we have faith in ourselves. Because tonight, Yes, tonight is the League of Legends NECC Finals for Champion Great Lakes Division. We have made it to the finals. It is something mystical and amazing, just like the Leafs getting out of round one of playoffs. You know, it is our time to shine. We just have to make sure we can actually really just do it. If we can get ahead and, beat our opponents here tonight. So, 4 finals for the championship here in this Champions Division of NECC. We have the Condors, that is us, the Gold and Black, versus Illinois Wesleyan Shield. Probably butchered the middle part of that, but regardless, here we are. Now, this is actually the third time these two teams have squared off. Once in regular season, once in scrims, and now here in the finals. And both the prior matches and series have gone in favor of Illinois. So, Condors, they definitely have an uphill battle. But even if we take a step back just a little bit, just a little bit, is that both these two teams, they had some upsets that they needed to do. Where our opponents, Wesleyan Shield, they had to beat number 1 seed Windsor Lancer Gaming. And in the regular season, they finished 5th. So they had an upset match of their own on the other side of the bracket. And for us, we had to beat University of Waterloo Black. And that is the first time our program has taken a series off of Waterloo. So it was a huge win for us as well, overcoming the number 2 seed as we finished 6th overall in the regular season. So this finals, regardless of who wins, is an unexpected result if you look at the results on paper. So it's going to be a surprise no matter how we look at it tonight, how we do it, how we cut it, shape it, color it. Whatever metric you use, it's going to be a surprise to who wins, who performs, and what we see on the Rift here tonight. And personally, I'm excited. I've been trying to temper my excitement all day, so I actually have the energy to be here, to be present, to cast with all my heart here. And I'm excited for what's to come. I can feel my ears turn red from the heat coursing through my body because I know this series will be fun. And so, Condors, we have, Eternity in the top lane, Lopachinsky in the jungle, Become Decker mid lane, Slayers as an ADC, and Slightly as a bottom, or as support. He's in the bot lane, plays support. So, this is also 3/5 of our roster from last semester. And what's important there is that because we retain 60% of our players on the roster, it means our points from last semester carry over for nationals for this year as well. Now, what's nice about that is because regardless of our place here tonight, whether it's second or first, we auto-qualify past the bracket stage for the nationals tournament for NECC, which is even bigger news in my opinion. And finals is great, but auto-qualifying past the group stage for a national tournament feels even better. So regardless of the result here tonight, I would still say that our boys in gold have surpassed expectations. And that's just such a good feeling to have. And I'd imagine it does put some pressure back onto the players because now they feel like they might have to perform. But also, it means that they have results that they can put to their name. It shows that they have been able to do it, that they have walked their talk, that they have flown high. And that's just wholesome in my opinion. It's good to see, good to hear. And honestly, I just want to know how far we can go now with this opportunity, how far our team can go. And so right now, the lobby is still being set up. We're still waiting for the enemy team to fully join. And so the game itself was moved up an hour because a best of 5 series, yes, it is a best of 5, is a fairly long affair, where the average runtime is about 24 minutes per game. And so if you multiply that by 5, you're easily looking at a 3-hour affair. And that's if you run it quick. But I know some of our games have gone upwards to 40 minutes. And so rather than finishing at 2 a.m., we're going to try and finish a little sooner. It also helps if we get the early series sweep, I would say. A nice 3-0 victory would be nice. But I don't think that would be feasible because Wesleyan Shield, they're a strong opponent. And I am sure that they will be able to get some sort of win. If we are able to get a series sweep, that would absolutely blow my mind. Do I think it's possible? No. Expectations. We got to temper them. We got to be realistic. But the win in a division like this, where every team has taken a game off of a higher tier opponent, means anything could happen. Yes, I would say right now, Illinois Wesleyan Shield is still the favorite to win it. They, on general, I would say, have a higher ranked team in terms of League of Legends ranks itself. But we're not that far behind. And one thing that I've always loved about the Condors, even when I was on the team, we always punched up. We always played above our skill level. And part of that is the back of the communication that we have, the culture that we're developing here. That is just, it's just one of those intangible things that really make a difference the later on we go. And I'm starting to see some readies in chat, so we could be looking at hopping into draft here soon. And I see the countdown started, so let's swap over to the draft and see what that will look like here for us right now. And so I got the teams reversed on the overlay, like normal. But it will be Condors on the red side and Wesleyan Shield on the blue side. So let's quickly get that swapped around. We got the Condors over here. The birds will do what the birds will do. And then on the other side, we have Wesleyan Shield. And now this will test my spelling ability, because I am not used to spelling half of these words. Yeah, close enough. Anyways, so looking at bands, we have on the side of Wesleyan Shield, we have the Aurelian Soul, the Shen, and the Jarvan. Aurelian Soul, I'm surprised they actually banned, because their mid laner has a counter pick for that in the Cho'Gath. And that absolutely shut down Become Decker during the regular season. And it wasn't even close. It was a slaughter there. So seeing they prefer to ban that instead of pulling at the counter is a little suspicious to me, because I thought that they would have just let it go through, maybe used as a bait pick. Instead, they opt for the ban. Shen, definitely removing that cross-map potential there, that global ultimate in the Stand United. Very strong tool. Very wise to take it off the table, especially when Eternity is very strong on the champion. Then Jarvan is just a high priority jungler right now. A lot of teams favor him. Will always be quasi meta, I would say. If he's not directly meta, he's usually adjacent to it because of his setup potential. And then on the side of Condors, we have Janna, Aatrox, and Echo. All three of these are target bans, 100%. Echo is a strong AP jungler, great burst potential, but can fall behind because it is an assassin. And Aatrox is one of those death bally top laners where once he starts getting ahead, it's very hard to kill him, but also a high skill level champion and skill expression as well. So if you know how to use champion, you can generally pull off some amazing plays. And then Janna is just a very annoying support. She's just one of those champions that always seems to get away from you, has some knockups, have some disengaged tools as well. But now to look at the actual picks, we are going to see the Gragas as the B1 pick, which is the first pick for Wesleyan Shield, followed by the Wukong Poppy for Condors, then the Seraphim Senna for Shield, and the Varus. So looking at the first three drafts right now, it looks like Wesleyan Shield is looking for a sustained comp. They want to sustain any damage, heal it up, try and wear you down over the course of that by just being able to out-heal you, out-sustain, poke you down. And you have the Gragas, which can either engage or disengage with his Exploding Cast ultimate. Where Condors, the Wukong for Lopachinski is one of his signature picks. I think that's his most played champion in NECC right now. He loves it. I always joke about there being monkey business afoot, but I assure you, it's all serious when he's on this champion. And now Poppy, if you remembered last week, you know exactly what this Poppy is for. It is for Eternity in this top lane, and hopefully he gets another, a 1v2 double kill. Like, the man was insane on this Poppy, absolutely took over that game 3. And Varus, a very staple champion here for Slayers, and definitely something that the Condors prioritize. Now, Victor can be a bit of I would say a steal, because Become Decker can't play the champion, but it's not a champion that he's prioritized this season. So taking that away from the enemy, always valuable. And looking at the bans, we can see that Heimendinger, Lysandra, Vigar, and Swain were banned respectively. So definitely targeting that mid lane champ pool and a little bit of that support champ pool as well. And now we see the Graves come out for Wesleyan Shield. Now Graves will be going into the jungler. He's a greedy, short-ranged jungler there with his double-barrel shotgun. He puts out quite a bit of damage. He's a carry, but that also means he tends to be a little bit squishier. However, and this is where Graves is annoying, is that there are some very unique builds where he can build more bruiser, build more tank, and actually be quite annoying to deal with just because of the amount of HP he has and the sustain he builds. And now we see Volibear as well. So normally I would say Gragas goes into the top lane, but seeing the Volibear peg, I would now say Gragas moves to mid, Volibear top, Gragas or Graves jungle. Because all three of these picks, ironically, have been played top, jungle, and mid in some metas. So it's a bit of a triple flex, but in the current meta, Volibear top, Gragas mid, Graves jungle. Now on the other side, with Condors, with their remaining pick, they actually opt for the R5 Rel. Now Rel is one of the supports you don't see very often. It has a very high skill level and skill expression that is as well to get your combos right, the flicks, the knockups, the magnet storms. But if you can land it all effectively, it looks fantastic. It has super great engage potential and was recently played at MSI, which is one of the professional worlds level tournament where you have teams from every region competing at it. So clearly the pros think it's viable, at least in some circumstances. And I know Lopachinski, back when he was playing support for the Condors, Rel was one of his highlight champions. Same with Senna, which Wesleyan Shield has. So Condors do have some intimate knowledge on how to play these champions, how to play against them, and what they're looking for to do. But these two comps, they're definitely interesting. Wesleyan Shield has the sustain, but also a death ball composition. Gragas, Volibear, they do kind of just want to go in, get onto you. While Graves, he does more damage the closer you is, because that way the spread from his shotgun is only hitting one target instead of multiple. And then you have the Son of Seraphim firing over top for that sustain, for that poke. So I would say it's a quasi-death ball composition where Condors, I want to say their composition really is just they want to go in. They have some disengage with the Poppy Hammer, but really they want to engage. They want to pick the fights, get a couple picks, chain the CC together, and look to blow someone up. And if I had to say, as I lean back to take a look at these champions and these compositions, is that both teams, they're on comfort. They have comfort picks nearly across the board, I would say. And at this level of play, comfort is king. Meta always kind of dictates which champions usually get picked, but knowing which ones are strong is definitely a whole other matter, I would say. If you know your champion inside and out because you played a lot, because it is comfort for you, it generally doesn't matter the matchup. You can usually find some success on it. And so, as I said, comfort is king. Now, we did have to remake the lobby by the looks of it, so everyone's just getting back in order, I believe. And then we'll hopefully get this started up. But for my personal predictions, because both teams are on comfort, I would personally just love to flick a coin, see the results, and call it off of that. But one of the first things I said was that I have faith in the boys in gold. So, game one in a best-of-5 series, I want to say goes to Conestoga Condors. Simple as that. I think that off their huge win last week, they have a lot of momentum. They're feeling good. They're communicating well. And they're hungry for the win. They don't expect to win, which means that they don't have the pressure on them. Where I think with Wesleyan Shield, that extra bit of pressure may cause them to falter every now and then. So game one, I'm going to say goes in favor of Conestoga. So, we are going to throw it to a quick break while the game gets started up. And then when we come back, we'll be into game one. So, See you on the side. Make sure you have your snacks and drinks ready. See you then.
To hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of the world that we defy. A solo ride of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last light.
Transition. Well, here we are kicking off game one. It is Illinois Wesleyan Shield on blue side and Condors on red side. And I know it's almost a recurring joke at this point, but I have double checked the overlay. It does look to be good. And the Condors, they're looking for something spicy onto Handy Taco there. And I know tacos are a great snack, but it's a little bit too early for a snack in game one, I would say. You know, got to make it to at least a few minutes in to avoid the early game shenanigans. Now, to run down Wesleyan Shield's roster, we have Shark Eye in top, Fable in the jungle, Fright in mid lane, Handy Taco as the bot or ADC. Well, bot lane because, well, Seraphine's an AP champion. And then Ruthless as support. Now, taking a quick look over the summoners, there's nothing beyond the norm, I would say. Grasp of the Undying for top laners, Fleet Footwork for Graves, Conqueror for Wukong, Meteor for Gragas, First Strike for Victor, Lethal Tempo, Ari. The only, I would say, actual interesting one there, if I had to pick, would be Ruthless there, the Senna, having the Grasp of the Undying, because that's usually one that is reserved for melee champions. But having it on a range champion means you got to get a little bit closer and able to proc it, because it takes 4 seconds to stack up before you can proc it or activate it. But it means that you do get a bit of extra health, a bit of extra sustain and poke damage. So it is a strong summoner for the Senna to have. And it does mean that the Senna will be tankier. It won't be a squishy Senna that can get easily bursted. It will be a bit tankier. So we will have to see how that plays out. But junglers, they both started on their red buff. They're both doing an approximate full clear of the red side. But right now, it's the two top laners really going at it one another. And Eternity, I would say, takes the worst end of that trade, but has greater sustain with the corrupting pots, which he's using. Now, Shark Eye has popped his first pot, and Eternity does look to actually starting to be winning the short trades, which is what he wants to do. And this Volibear, he will have support from Graves sooner than Lopaczynski, but Lopaczynski's looking for a cheeky gank towards bot right now. And it's actually a first blood top laner for Eternity. Eternity just absolute monster on this poppy, popping off already. But now Lopaczynski goes on to Handy Taco. And, well, I would say that's a soft shell taco there because that kill came easily. There was no crunch. It was just a quick bop, and there she goes. And so, two members of Wesleyan Shield have already visited the gray screen, have gone back to the Fountain Buy. And that does mean advantage to Condors. They're already up 700 gold off the back of those two kills. And up tempo. So much tempo now because of that. Now, Graves does have jungle priority and is further along this clear. Slightly could be looking for a gank here on Fright, or at least some pressure. But he's going to reset to try and maintain tempo with Slayers there. And now Eternity matches the TP top for Shark Eye. So neither top laner have TP. And Graves is waiting here for Eternity. But as Eternity shows up in lane, definitely backs off there. The ward is spotted out, so Eternity should be fairly safe on this poppy for the time being. And overall, the first 4 minutes of the game have gone surprisingly well into Condor's favor. And the early game is one of our weakest areas as a team. And oddly enough, as a program, it seems like Rocket League also struggles early. League starts early. Valorant, well, they got knocked out already, so I'd say they struggled early too. But you can just see Eternity's bullying Sharkeye here, but Fable stayed top for so long. He could get a kill here on Eternity. Eternity has no flash either, but is still pretty beefy. Is hiding in the minions, probably looking for Sharkeye. Does get that kill there, gets the shield off the buckler, toss back. Doesn't hide behind the minions, gets a little bit of the dash damage, and is still going to go down here, trying to buy some time. But regardless, in a 1v2 situation, Eternity finds the kill, and that looks great. Now Lopachinski on the Fright, getting a little bit of chip damage down as Come Decker, TP to lane, couldn't do much. And slightly there as well, they give up control of that ward. They should still have control of Dragon, but I feel this is a bit greedy now, as Fable has had time to reset and should be at Dragon in time to at least contest it. Especially with the bot lane of Wesleyan Shield now pushing with lane prio, it could be risky. Fable looking to do Krugs right now, and pings are going down, so they know Slightly isn't in lane. They know the Rel is horsing around somewhere, trotting through the river most likely. But it looks like Condors will get the first dragon, and that is an early ocean dragon, so that extra sustain comes in so handy, especially when you already have a bit of a lead. And so Eternity definitely feeling pretty good right now, and you can tell that Sharkeye has had to go straight into a defensive item with that chain vest, and does have a bit of a CS lead, but ultimately he's down 2 kills. So gold wise, we still see that's a 600 gold advantage for Eternity despite the CS difference. I would like to see Eternity clean up his CSing just a little bit, but honestly, if he's getting solo kills, all the power to the guy. And he's doing a fairly good job of stuffing Sharkeye here and winning the trades fairly heavily. That Sheen really coming in handy. And now Become Decker trading back on the Fright. Fright taking I would say a little bit of poke. Definitely doing more damage than before. And Become Decker flashing out of that combo at the end as Fable was maybe looking to collapse there at the end. Bit of trading in bot lane as well. And overall, this is kind of what's expected. Now Lopachinski goes in on Fright. Fright dashes out with the belly slam as he gets to safety in bush, and I think Lopachinski is going to help clear this wave. But Fable's there as well, and with that extra little bit of jungle tempo from not ganking, is able to help crash this wave. Now he dives on the tower, doesn't get the kill onto Become Decker, and has to flash out before the extra tower shot comes through. Otherwise, that could have gone heavily into favor of the Condors there. But, and I say this surprisingly, but it looks like Wesleyan Shield have managed to catch up in terms of gold. They've evened the gold value just a little bit, which I find is a bit surprising. But to be fair, Lopachinski has sacrificed a lot of his jungle tempo for objectives and ganks, which has allowed Graves to get the CS lead by about 2 camps right now, and therefore has the XP, maybe a little bit of gold, a little bit of a gold lead there as well because of that, and perhaps tempo onto the Rift Herald, which is spawning, in about 2 seconds right now, and I'm going to say both teams will prioritize the Rift Herald to some degree, because that is absolutely fantastic for taking towers and getting early gold off those early plates. But we can see that Fright is just so hard to push in right now. Now Lopachinski, he's in a bit of a danger zone as 4 members of Wesleyan Shield look to collapse there. And yeah, Lopachinski's forced back off. Condors not prioritizing the Rift the same way that Wesleyan Shield have, which I feel is a bit of a shame, as they really had tempo there going for them around the map with that early dragon, with the winning top lane too, but suddenly giving Rift Herald over to Graves doesn't feel the greatest. Now Eternity still just cheekily trading onto the Volley Bear, and honestly, I'm going to say Sharkeye is feeling pretty unbearable right now in this situation. He's called for help from Fable. It's a 2v1 situation. The ult goes up, and now Eternity should be able to walk this one away. Gets slow. Fright's there as well. He's going to have to flash the exploding cast, and there it goes in. Eternity makes it to safety by the skin of his Yordle behind. So something like that, anyways. In lore, Poppy is a Yordle that is looking to give her hammer to a hero, unbeknownst to herself that she is the hero that she seeks. But right now, the hero that Conestoga seeks is Slayers, as he picks up the kill and Handy Tacos, and now Become Decker is bought as well. And it looks like Ruthless is in a 1v4 situation here as well, with the minion wave crashing. It's going to be tough for Ruthless to survive this. As the minion waves come, the TP comes in. They got to get this kill quickly. There's a flash out of Ruthless. They get the kill. They back out. Shark Eye is going to get a return kill and Become Decker. A second TP comes through behind the Taco. And now they're going to try and chase down the remaining members of Condors. There's the ultimate out of Volibear. CC comes through. It's a chain CC. It's a whole lot of damage. And they get the kill onto the Volibear as well. And now Handy Taco has to be careful. Otherwise, potentially could be picked off there as well. So an interesting series of events. The Rift Herald goes top lane. They get 3 tower plates at 600 or 160 gold apiece. That's about 480 gold in favor of the Wesleyan Shield team, especially the Graves, who dropped the Rift Herald there. But Condors, they pick up 3 kills on the bot side. They get a turret plate there. Eternity was still able to absorb all that CS, all that XP by the looks of it. And that bodes quite well for him. Now Fright gets chunked pretty good there. And we see Become Decker finally starting to trade back and get some value out of his first strike. Definitely not a lot of value right now, but it looks like Slightly's going in there onto Hamikako. Lopachinski's there as well. And that's just going to be disengaged there as those 2 members of Wesleyan Shield kind of take a back seat for a bit. So just because I'm curious, I want to see if I can actually get that gold value for the first strike if it lets me, but I don't think it's going to let me. Yeah, no, it's not going to let me. Honestly. Spectator client. What can I say? Either way, first strike, if you trade first into an opponent or just after you receive damage, you can get gold based on the amount of damage you do and then bonus damage on top of that. So it's an economy rune to help you buy items. So it's important for Become Decker to be trading first, like we saw there with that Death Laser, regardless of if Fright is trading on to Become Decker. And right now, Become Decker is kind of under it, but Fable dashes into Lopachinski there, and he's going to have to ult out, but Lopachinski still wants some of that, and Lopachinski might have overstepped, and he does actually overstep there. Become Decker and Slightly trying to trade there, but Fable gets the dash back over the wall, and he gets the horse. Slightly going down, so what looked like a promising play for Condors was upended by Wesleyan Shield. And you can see Fright is an absolute beast on this Gragas. Now Slayers is there as well, potentially looking for something. Throws out the ultimate. Looks like he missed it, so he couldn't get the CC down. And unfortunately, that now gives the gold lead over to Wesleyan Shield. Now Eternity is starting to be pushed in here, but overall looks to be doing okay. Maybe potential going for a fight here. Gets that Buckler shield. Shark Eye gets his shield as well, so it's 2 tanks with a couple wet noodles or a blunted hammer. And Eternity having to pop that ultimate to stay safe for the time being, because he's probably sitting on a fair amount of gold, 1,500. He could look for a buy here, and that's going to be a flash stun out of Shark Eye. And Eternity, his short little legs can't get him out of danger there. So Wesleyan Shield finding ways to get kills back. Now a gold bounty on their top laner and their jungler does bode well for them, and starts putting a little bit of asterisks around the Condors to see almost what went wrong for them, what's slipping, where are they losing their lead from, because CS still looks surprisingly close across the board. The main differences there are in top lane and jungle, where Graves has a 20 CS lead. The Volibear has nearly a 20 CS lead as well, but the big thing top lane is that he secured all 5 tower plates and the tower itself, which is what, 400 gold bonus for the tower itself, then another 540 for tower plates or something like that. It's a lot of gold suddenly infused into this Volibear. And you can see that despite Eternity looking like the stronger player right now, because he had those 2 early kills, is down nearly 1,200 gold right now. That's a fair amount of gold, and the gold lead for the teams itself has suddenly exploded to over 2k in favor of Wesleyan Shield here. And second Rift Herald on the map, but Lopachinski goes in on the Fright. Fright takes a bit of chip damage and then walks away. And its Rift Herald should be spawning here pretty soon as well. But it's going to be Handy Taco under fire. Gets a little bit of difference there. Slightly has the knockback there. Has the stun. The Encore comes through, but it's not enough. But slightly nearly dies to the tower, but stays alive. And so that is a shining area for the Condors right now, is this bot lane. Slayers and Slightly, they're doing well. I almost wanted to abbreviate them to the SS squad, but that is not an area I want to go in any shape or form. Yeah. I mean, at one point in time, there was like 4 or 5 people on the Condor squad with their first letter of their gamer tag being S. But regardless, rabbit holes, tangents, don't always need to be explored. So Slayers, even in CS, is up 4 kills. Shining area for Condors, up nearly 1,400 gold. And this was something I was expecting to happen. Would be that top lane would be a bit of an island here for Conestoga, and Lopachinski would therefore focus on the bot lane. Get them ahead, get them to be the carries that they need their team to be. Because a tank, as much as a tank can do, is still ultimately a tank. And Eternity is really good at being a tank, but he's not going to be the kill-oriented person you want to see. The person who goes off and absolutely wipes out the enemy team. Could happen, but generally not what you expect to see. And so it is going to be actually the Cloud Soul for the map right now. Handy Taco flashes out, gets to the slow, and Shark Eye is still going hard onto Eternity in this top lane, looking to get enough pressure in order to TP to the Dragon fight. And Eternity has blown flash as well. So Fright with a huge body slam to disrupt the engage out of Slightly and Lopachinski. Now Become Decker's trying to get work done. The Exploding Cast comes through, knocks the 2 away. And both teams, they kind of take a step back to reform their lines as TPs from at least one top laner came through. Shark Eye went back to base. And Become Decker also reset here as well to match this mid push. And it looks like it is going to be... Oh, it's going to be Become Decker potentially getting picked here as the Rift Herald gets the tower. Become Decker gets stunned up. Slightly has to jump his way out of there, but Shark Guy with the ultimate comes down, disables the tower, gets the kill on the horse, because bears are predators after all. They will eat a horse if they can catch it. And bears are surprisingly quick on their feet. You will not outrun a bear. Now, it looks like Condors, they could be looking for a fight here. They do find Shark Eye with the stun against the wall. Eternity, he's trying to keep him slowed. Lopachinski there as well. That's a lot of damage coming out, but this is a tanky bear. And he is able to run it out. Whew. So, overall, trade of objectives there. Conestoga, they are now on soul point with dragons. They have 3 dragons stacked, 1 more, they get the soul, which will help them maneuver around the map. They will have shorter cooldowns on their ultimates, and could potentially then look for better fights because they will then have the ult economy for it. You know, if your ult is up more quicker, is up faster than your opponent, you can use it more often, and therefore use it to get pressure. Whereas Wesleyan Shield, they're starting to find kills. They have the tower advantage, which means they have the map advantage right now. The map is more open for them because they can push further into the enemy territory or the Condor territory without running into a tower, without being cut off by a tower. Especially that mid-tier 2 tower or outer tower. That's generally the one you want to keep up as much as you can because it does protect a lot of your map. So, without that, Condors are at a bit of a risk, I would say, or a disadvantage for map presence. But that is also countermanded by having 3 dragons, having those extra stats for their team. Lopachinski definitely under-leveled as well, so I would like to see him catch up in levels if he can, where Slayers is also surprisingly down in levels, but Slightly is up a level. Eternity down a level, so even levels aren't great for the Condors because a bit of it is the CS differences that we've been observing. Some of it's been solo XP going on to important carries when they go for objectives. Like we saw Handy Taco get the bottom outer tower completely by themselves, which is absolutely fine because Conestoga prioritized the dragon objective. But that does mean that the experience between the waves goes just onto the Seraphim instead of the Seraphim and Senna. So it's just those little micro differences that can really start piling up over time if you're not careful of them or if you give too many of them away. And so, looking at the timer, it's what, 1930, in 30 seconds, Baron spawns, and that is a huge objective that both these two teams will fight over. And fight over, they will fight over it, 100%. You generally will never have a game where you don't fight over the Baron in some way or form. The first fight is always a vision. You can see that Conestoga has more wards towards the top side of the map than Wesleyan Shield does. Where Wesleyan Shield, a lot of their vision is actually geared towards the bot side of the map. It's very defensive oriented. Because you see the pink ward behind their red buff and in the one bush by Krugs. And while those are good wards for defensive oriented purposes, it doesn't help you with Baron. And Conestoga, they have 3 pinks near Baron to make sure that their side of the map is well protected so that they can at least walk through their own jungle to get to it. And part of the reason why they have to ward so heavily there is because they don't have a tower in mid or top that can help them get to their objective easier. So, map flow, map priority. We can already see it starting to take shape. And so, Baron is up, Soul Dragon is up in a minute, and it seems like both teams right now are just happy farming, pushing it out. It's a bit of a stalemate. Nobody wants to throw a fight before a big objective. But at the same time, you also want to take a good fight before a big objective to make the objective itself easier to take and less risky. Because every play is a play percentages. You make play A, play B, play C, play D. Every play can be viable, but they all have different chances or percentages of working out. So knowing which gamble to take when is absolutely huge. And right now we see the dragon being spawning in 10 seconds. Fright is in bot lane. 4 members of Wesleyan Shield are coming down river. Lopachinski knows where Fright is at least. Poppy, Eternity is coming down, but it looks like Sharkeye is looking for an engage here. He's running in, but Condors just kind of back away there. Eternity knocks it out, and that's the fight they want to take now. And they have a 5v4, but Slayers wasn't quite there with them. But they maintain river priority, and Sharkeye, he's stepping up pretty far. Avoids the stun out of the gravity well there from Victor. So both teams playing a dangerous game. Now Eternity is the one kind of flanking, kind of cut off from the team. And so both teams playing a bit of a stalemate, but it's Wesleyan Shield with better. But doesn't matter as Lopachinski finds a knock-up on 3. The Magnet Storm on 3 as well. And it looks like Wesleyan Shield, they're flashing out, but Fable gets caught by Eternity. And now Fright is onto the back line, but Slayers is just too strong, and he's ripping through the fat man himself. But Lopachinski goes down, Handy Taco goes down, Sharkeye is now on become Decker. He ults over the wall to safety, and it looks like Conestoga Condors have won this dragon fight and have won themselves the Dragon Soul, as Fable is not able to change this fairy tale to something that works better for Wesleyan Shield, because he's in the gray screen, and now slightly he just needs to zone Fright, but with a good back step he avoids the body slam, and Conestoga Condors officially secure the Mountain Soul, and that does give them a lot of fighting power in terms of that ult economy I was talking about earlier. And now they should be able to get this mid tower off the back end of that fight, and now I say that as pings go towards the Baron, is that they should reset. And now that they reset, we should have a moment of pause here where I can take a drink. But Slayers, oh, he's potentially caught out here. Can Lopachinski help him out? But nope. Yes, maybe. No, I don't know. Fright, what are you doing, Fright? Okay, Fright was definitely looking for that kill there, but Lopachinski and Slightly there for the backup. And now Slayers, his reset was delayed, and we already have Ruthless hitting the Baron. And so it looks like Wesleyan Shield are forcing a play to happen here. And while this play is, we'll say, setting up, I'm going to take a quick sip of water. Remember, hydro break. Okay, the vision is down. Conestoga know how much the Baron is there. The blast cone's available. The chains don't land, but there's still so much CC going down. Sharkeye is nearly dead. Lopachinski putting in work, but that's a huge volley bear ultimate there. And Wesleyan Shield, They clean up the fight as Eternity just wasn't there yet by the looks of it. That start of the fight looked so promising with the amount of damage that Conestoga got down. But Shark Guy turned that around with a huge ultimate. And now Conestoga, can they play this fight smart to dissuade the Baron take and force him off? Ruthless is low. Eternity, he's trying to cause some chaos there. Become Decker comes in off the back end of that fight, TPing to the other side of the map, and he just gets clapped. Definitely not where he should have TP'd there. I think he should have TP'd to a minion and come up with Eternity. But now Fright is forcing Eternity back. It looks like Baron has reset. So Become Decker's sacrifice may not have been completely in vain, as they managed to stop the Baron take as the respawns come through. Whew. Now, that was a series of events that I would say was breathtaking. It did take my breath away because I had to talk a lot for it. But I signed up for that as well. So, to recap the past, I would say 2 minutes then, is that Conestoga won the dragon fight, got the dragon for the soul, and then as they were resetting in poor positions, which allowed Fright to then cause some chaos, which forced the resets to be misaligned for the Condors, so they couldn't actually get to Baron as a team to contest it. Then when they were able to get to Baron, they had a start of a really good fight, but then the damage came through from Shark Guy, from the rest of the Wesleyan squad, and that did so much work for them that they won the fight, killing 3. And then Conestoga, they were able to delay the dragon through a valiant sacrifice from Become Decker, who arguably TP'd in the wrong spot in my opinion. But regardless, Eternity, Fright, they're trading. Another couple tanks here. Fright does have a little bit more damage in his kit and his items by the looks of it. Now Eternity, he's getting a little bit of chip damage, but he definitely doesn't quite have the same amount of damage. Good block there on the body slam. And Fright, he's actually taking a frightening amount of damage there out of this Poppy. But really, it's a Baron dance happening on the other side of the map. We have Slayers catching the mid wave, pushing that up to make sure that the minions aren't taking towers. And it's just a fight over vision, because if you have vision of the enemy team and where they are setting up, where they want to play, it means that you have the information needed to formulate a better plan for yourself. And if you can formulate a better plan, you take a higher percentage or higher gamble decision-making chance there, and hopefully it works out in your favor more often. Now, potential dive here for Shark Dive, but I think Shark Dive remains pretty safe here. I know Condors want to take this top tower, open up the map just a little bit more in their favor, and they are able to get it. But still, they find themselves down nearly 3,500 gold here at 27 minutes, which is, yes, a sizable gold lead. It's definitely noticeable, but this game is surprisingly close. It's the closest game one I've seen in playoffs so far. Yeah, no, that checks out about my own memory. But, you know, I'm old. My memory's failing. So, I have production laughing at me too now. Great. So. As time has ticked down, has passed on, like grains of sand in an hourglass, we are ever so close to the Elder Dragon spawn. Now, Elder Dragon, it's a buff that when an enemy falls below a certain health percentage, I think it's below 20%, they get automatically executed. So it's a very, very strong buff that also has some burn damage attached to it as well, or damage over time. And so as a team fight buff, it is by far the best in the game. Baron is great for pushing and killing bases, but really Elder Dragon is the one that can win a game, win a fight. And now slightly, he's got to run around as well, and the Condors don't quite have a unified line yet here. And so Wesleyan Shield are able to come and take a lot of pressure, and they didn't get the mid lane push out either. So while they're dancing around Dragon, it's actually Wesleyan Shield who have map advantage right now. We see Fright hovering just above the blue buff there, out of sight. And neither team wants to be the one to risk an engage, but it's going to be Fright coming in behind and Lopachinski's also in behind. It's going to be a fight here. Slayer's managed to dodge the cast, but he's low. Lopachinski on the background on Handy Taco. Realist is going to drop down first, and Condors, they're grouped as 5, and they seem to be winning this fight as well. Handy Taco manages to stay alive, but Fable goes down. Lopachinski gets the taco. He gets the snack. He has his dinner. He had to fight for it, but now he's going to have some bear. And, well, when you get the tacos, when you get the fables, when you are ruthless, and when you kill the bear last, it means that you have the bear necessities. Yes, the bear necessities there. And part of the bear necessities that you might need to win a game, well, it's definitely not one of the bear necessities, but it's a nice necessity to have, is the Elder Dragon. Now, with the Elder Dragon, I can imagine that the Condors will transition almost straight to Baron buff, get the reset, and then look to win the game. Because just look at the gold value right now, and you can already see that Conestoga, they're up in gold. They had a 4,500 gold swing there between the objective and the kills and the towers. That's a huge, massive amount of momentum now that's suddenly swung over, and that creates a lot of doubt in Wesleyan Shield as if they can even contest this next fight. And honestly, they shouldn't. Not when Conestoga still has the dragon buff activated. I think they got cheeky and they did get the Scuttle Crab. Small win there, small advantage, means they're guaranteed some vision on the Baron. But really, Conestoga, they shred Baron so quickly right now, it's almost unbelievable. But I can assure you, it is entirely believable. Babel tried to go for the steal there, but he was too far out where I don't think his ultimate even reached. Now Conestoga, they rotate straight up top. They have a minion wave coming in as well. They take up space in the jungle. And I think they just hard push this. Shark Eye is top lane, so they can almost look to force a fight here because that's a 4-second TP timer for the teleport to actually activate or go siege this up. And I think that's exactly what they should do. Has been cracked here, and so Wesleyan Shield, they're now in a different phase of this game. They gotta be careful, they gotta be smart. They don't have priority for some of these fights anymore. And so Conestoga, and that's a fair amount of gold. And so Conestoga now up 2,000 gold themselves. And I would say that they do have the tower advantage now, having taken 2 towers there in the top lane. So I feel safe saying now that Conestoga has a distinct and definitive advantage in this game. But they can't close it out just yet. I would think they need to get one more inhibitor down before they can start looking at the Nexus. Definitely get an ace, and you can tell that Wesleyan Shield are playing so respectful right now that they're just basically conceding the map while Conestoga have both these buffs up on their side. You know, Baron and Elder. Elder just fell off right now, so a fight could be feasible, but Conestoga is looking very strong. We have a 4-item Varus right now. Slayer is absolute monster. I think he's the richest one in the game, and at 15,000 gold, he definitely is by nearly 2,000. So a lot of resources there. The Come Decker can now chip away at this mid tower with the extra cannon range, and it's looking like a pretty good split right now. You have the supers pushing top. You then have one, and it looks like Handy Taco manages to survive there, dodges the ultimate coming out of Slayers. And it's, yeah, the chain of corruption coming out of Slayer there, missed just by a hair to the top. And one thing about League of Legends is that you could be aiming at a champion's head. Your mouse could be right on their head, and you could miss. Because the hitbox for a champion's model is actually where their feet are. And so with an isometric view that we currently have, it is a little bit off-putting. So to land more of your skill shots, you gotta aim for their feet. Not their heads, not their hearts, you gotta aim for their feet. You gotta trip them up one way or another to get a win. And based on the yells I'm hearing, yeah, we're going to hit some skill shots here in 3 minutes. So, let the countdown begin. But to get there, Conestoga still have a lot of work to do. They've cracked one lane. There's 2 other lanes that they got to crack, or they don't have to, but should crack in order to be safe here. Sharkai running into Slayers and noping right out of there. And yeah. Okay, so right now I'm kind of evaluating what's happening. And in a stream of conscience, it's looking like Conestoga is still letting the super minions push top lane while they're looking to get prio in both mid and bot lane to try and get those inhibitors open or lanes open so they can push the Nexus, which gets them a lot of objective priority. But now with a minute to go on the Elder Dragon, they're looking to reset here. They have some gold. They don't have a lot of gold in their pockets. But the important thing is to reset, get vision, and then set back up for your dragon fights. Set up in a way that you have priority, that you can just repeat what happened previously. And with Soul, they're still looking good. And now the levels have definitely equalized, I would say. And if anything, are in favor of Conestoga, who are closer to a 3k gold lead now. Or, well, 2.5, would say. 3. Yeah, 3. Closer to 3. Mental math on stream is always hard. It's like leaving a room and forgetting what you came in there for. I know how to add 1+1, but when I suddenly try and do it on stream, it's like 1+1 equals fish, or window, or 11. But now there's a huge fight there. Lobachinski goes in, gets a huge knock up there. Ruthless Flashes gets a good Dawning Shadow there, but it just isn't enough. Eternity sends someone back to the fountain the old-fashioned way via Poppy Air. But now Handy Taco, he's running into the business end and becomes Decker's laser. Now Shark Guy trying to get something to happen. He chunks Become Decker pretty good there. Ults in as well. Chases down with the flash and Become Decker does go down, but Slayers is there to pick up the kill on the bear. And now Eternity, the Poppy, he's looking for a couple kills of his own. Blocks the body slam. Tries to get Fright. Gets the stun in the gate. But Lopachinski's going to be there to potentially finish it off. Does get the finishing kill there. And now I think Eternity, well, he's a monster on this Poppy. They don't even need the Elder Dragon. They got minions in the base. And it's going to be Conestoga Condors here in a best of 5 for their finals in NECC, winning game 1. All that's left is killing Nexus, and there it goes. So, Conestoga Condors, they take game 1, and they take the series lead. Like, it was a bit touch and go there with Wesleyan Shield having some comeback momentum there, getting the gold lead, taking some good fights. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, it was the Condors with superior team fighting that won themselves the objectives, won themselves the map priority, and eventually won themselves the game. And so, I'm going to throw it to a quick break, get some water, hydrate, and then when we come back, we'll be in here for the draft phase of Game 2 in this best of 5 series. So, see you then. series. And if I'm not careful, I'm going to lose my voice. Some change up in the bans already, where we see now, oh, just absolutely fantastic to see that add up. Slips through, so that's picked up first. But fills in as jungler for the team because I think 3 out of 5 members of Wesleyan Shield's team prefers the mid lane role. So being, I'd say, not on your primary role could definitely affect how this series plays out. But comfort pick is still a comfort pick. So Fable on the Echo has comfort. And for Condors, speaking of comfort, we see the Wukong and Lissandra for Become Decker, which was banned out earlier. So showing a bit more priority for the Condor mid lane. And Become Decker with Lissandra, it's a good pick for him. He's played phenomenal on Lissandra in previous series throughout the season. It's one of the champions he, I would say, falls back onto when other champions in his pool have been banned out, like the Aurelian Soul. It's a good option. It does skew heavily towards the early and mid game, though. But speaking of great scaling mid laners, we have the Veigar, the little purple one. And yes, that is a short joke. Now, Veigar, he is an infinity stacker. With his passive, he can infinitely stack AP or his magic damage. And that's through, I think, either last hitting minions with his Q, his Baleful Strike, or damaging enemy champions with his abilities. Kills will give him extra ability power. And so it's quite common to see a Veigar with over 1,000 ability power, which can be quite terrifying at times. But it can be manageable. He can be beat. He can be killed. And it does take time for all that to stack up as well, because nobody's perfect. Missed skill shots, missed minions will slow things down. And then we do see the Xayah priority coming out of Wesleyan Shield for their bot lane. They actually opt into a Varus ban as well. And Conestoga could have opted for an early ADC, but opted for the Sona instead, which means that it's going to be mixed priorities for these teams. We have Wesleyan Shield banning out the Varus, Condors banning out the Rakan, targeting the support, and in the next ban phase, and Volibear. I agree with it. Shark Eye on the Volibear was definitely a nuisance, and it's a good pick to take away. It definitely stops some snowballing or meatball potential. And we see the Shen taken away. So multiple bans given towards Attorney, and when you ban out a top laner, it's always a good thing, because top lane, as I mentioned before, is an island. And islands don't need many resources. So if you're throwing resources at them, whether it's in the bans, ganks, or whatever, you could potentially be putting your team behind, which we ultimately saw last game as well, where Shark Eye got some ganks but couldn't win the game with it. Where Slayers was a massive presence in that game, having the most gold in the game, period. So definitely different priorities. And so we need to see some different adaptations coming through. Okay. We see the Jinx pick up for Slayers. Now, Jinx is one of the comfort champions for Slayers, as far as I'm aware. And that means Slayers, I'm expecting great things from him again. Should be relatively safe, especially with for the extra movement speed as well. And one thing I've seen paired a lot with Jinx is the Milio. Shield opting for the Yuumi support. Now, Yuumi recently, I would say within this, balance her a bit, because she was very, very strong, but also not the most engaging to play because of her. Very annoying to play against because she just latches onto an ally, and you can't actually target her unless she's off of that. For Wesleyan Shield, and Eternity is a Kled know a champion inside and out because you play it yourself, you can then count the dismount. It's not an ability, but it's part of his kit, where he then goes invulnerable as he dismounts off Scarl, which is his little mount. I forget what it's actually called in lore, but either way, it looks a bit like a dragon on 2 legs. Cute little. Won't actually kill Kled from, let's say, half. Kled, if he can remount, can then start that process all over again. So that's definitely something we have to be aware of for this top lane matchup. But honestly, once both these two teams looking like they're on comfort, looking like they know what they want to play, I would say that Wesleyan's, because it seems to be, I almost want to say a little bit haphazard. Echo wants to dive in, Scarl will dive in, Xayah has an ultimate, the Featherstorm, to help get herself in or out of fights because it's primarily used as a defensive tool. Veigar is kind of stationary, around, and so when you have half your team wanting to dive in, and then half your team wants to sit back, there's a little bit of missed synergy there as well. So I would be interested to see how that works as well. And Kled has recently been changed from a tank to a bruiser, to like a dedicated bruiser. Here, he has so much speed, not as many tank stats that he used to have. So Wesleyan and Shield don't have a dedicated frontline. That can also be said for the Condors right now as well, because Camille, she builds damage. She will get some defensive items like a Death Dance, maybe a Randuin's or a GA if she's ahead, but generally Death Dance, maybe a Hex Tech or Malamar Mortis as defensive items, but really, she wants damage. She wants to just one-shot the enemy squishies. And Lopachinski, he causes a lot of chaos in the front line, but he's also a bruiser. He's not a tank. So these two teams, they have more damage, but can they be effective with the damage that they're building? And that will be the ultimate question, I feel. And you know what? I'm going to be confident here and say that Game 2 goes in favor of Condors once more. They are coming off of a win. They're playing to their game plan better than Wesleyan Shield by the looks of it. And when you play to your game plan, you have priority. You need to make fewer changes. You carry your momentum better between games as well. And with the creative pathing that they had in Game 1, I feel like they can mimic that here in Game 2 to a certain degree. And Lysandra is great at roaming as well. Has greater CC potential than a Victor does. So yeah, I'm going to give Game 2 towards Condors here for my prediction. Now, I know that they're potentially getting ready here for the next game, and they're through the main part of Champ Select, so we are going to quick intermission, like 3 minutes, and then when we come back, we will be into Game 2. So grab your snack, grab a drink, and we'll see you then. Well, here we are in game 2 of this best of 5 series for the NECC Champions Great Lakes Division Finals.
30 seconds
And
until
yes,
minions
I have to
spawn.
let that hang in the air because we've been in NECC for 1 year. This is our debut year, and we're already reaching the finals. And that just feels good. And now in this particular finals, we're up a game as well. So, every now and then, you have to stop and smell the roses, or in this case, you have to stop and stare intently at the pixels.
Minions
Same
have
effect.
spawned.
Enjoy the moment, enjoy the present. And Wesleyan Shield, they have opted to remain on the same size. It's actually it looks like fairly standard starts here. Eternity Trap on a rope, I think it's called, from Flood there. He's already stepping up. He wants the Kled. He wants the damage. It's slow here. You know, bot lane, they want to poke. They have, I would say sustain is about equal if Roof poke damage down there with the Yumi's Q. But now Sharkive, he's already down to half HP and about to be dismounted. And, whoa, I didn't catch this right away, people. But Lopaczynski is starting enemy blue side and full clearing it. I don't think it was spotted out or called because we have Fable doing a full clear bot side for the red buff. So that means, interestingly enough, that Fable is super far behind in his clear right now. If he's unable to predict where Lopaczynski rotates to next, because Sharkive calling for assistance, and Eternity has the for first blood. It will be traded back, but just absolutely massive. And now Fable will be soaking that top lane XP away from this is Flash, which is an well. So Shark Eye is feeling the pressure now at half the HP. And that's, I would say, just unfortunate. Eternity could be facing the music here as well, but Shark Eye is taking a lot of damage. He gets Eternity's devastation for the Condors. They get first blood, but they trade back 2 kills nearly instantly, and that's Eternity with no summoners right now. And that's definitely not good, because this Fable on the Echo, who is an assassin-based champion, is now ahead by, I would say, a fair amount. 800 gold already. That is more than a fair amount. It really does put Lopachinski in a pinch here, because now his own jungle, because he didn't clear it until now, means that it respawns later and respawns at a lower level because it's behind tempo. If he had already cleared it once, his minions would, or jungle camps would be spawning at the next level, like what's happening to Fable right now. He's which have already respawned at a higher level. So jungle tempo 100% into Fable because of Lopachinski's greed to go for that scuttle crab. And to be fair, heads up or credit where credit's due, Shark Eye did roam correctly there to hover mid to help contest the scuttle, seeing as how his minion wave was pushed in top. So Wesleyan Shield playing that correctly. And now it looks like the top laners are going to keep trading. The action is going to be around Dragon, as it looks like 4 members of Wesleyan Shield had grouped up there. Eternity, he doesn't quite have the damage to kill Shark Eye before he remounts. And so Shark Eye gets another kill. 100% kill participation right now. And it's a scary top lane now for Eternity. Become Decker, using the Frozen Claw there to get some distance in to trade onto Fright. Now Fable is looking for a gank bot, is sitting on a ward and clearing it out. For Slayers and slightly back off the minion wave just a little bit. He actually stays for the gank, not deciding to reset right now. And this does on the map, but Lopachinski spotted out on a couple wards as well. And looking for a gank mid, doesn't find anything. Help clears it off. Fable finally going for a reset. And the junglers, even in levels, but the gold, as I was saying, is now 900 difference between the two of them. That will definitely be a lot of gold to overcome for Lopachinski. And now Fable has the pick of which buff he wants to start first. It looks like he's going to start on that top side, which I would say is the correct decision right now, because that was the buff that Lopachinski took first and is more likely to take again because he's guaranteed that timer. So Fable will take his blue buff first, has priority in top lane as well with Shark Eye, even though Camille is level 6. I don't think she wins that fight right now with Kled just sitting on 3 longswords and a pickaxe. That's a lot of upfront damage there as well. So, ward in the river for both top laners. Potential top fight here as junglers could be pathing up. Lopachinski is spotted out on a ward, drops the pink, clears it out. And you can tell he's a solid buy behind Fable right now, and definitely doesn't want to come or run into Fable right now. But it looks like that may not be a choice for Lopachinski, as he didn't get the Scuttle Crab either there. And now Viger zones him off. He has to flash the wall to stay alive. And once again, Lopachinski greeting for a potential Scuttle Crab here. And it's just not worth it. It's costing him way too much in terms of tempo, and not what we want to be seeing. So, Paco. Surviving bot lane. You know, even CS, and definitely deciding to play passive. Has the call, so we'll eventually get a good amount of gold power spike out of that item. But also not, you know, it's 40 CS away as well. So, Eternity with a hook shot doesn't quite get out as Shark Eye body blocks it, but with the flash gets under tower there. And that was a good gank by Fable. Definitely came through a ward, but got both of their flashes. So worthwhile for Eternity there. The cleanse is dropped by Handy Taco, the exhaust as well, and now Lopachin's, or that's become Decker, and that's a huge amount of CC and even more damage coming through. So the Xayah gets popped. Now Lopachinski is there as well, potentially looking for a Ruthless, as the Ruthless drops another ward, but this will be a couple tower plates here for Conestoga Condors, and that helps with the gold, but they still find themselves in a bit of a gold deficit here right now. And I would like to see Conestoga Condors do the dragon right now, but the Rift Herald's already taken by Fable. Fable's going for a potential, could be going for an invade here, but I think he's just going for the tower mid. And we saw their top lane that Eternity just can't stand up to Sharkive right now, as Sharkive gets the reset and manages just to get out of tower range to survive. So Fright, now Fable's in there, he gets the stun onto Lopachinski, but Fable, he's low, gets a little bit of move speed to get out of there, but the Rift Herald looks of it. And so it's almost a 2k gold lead already for Wesleyan Shield. They have the kill advantage, they have objective advantage. And Lopachinski, that's a greedy play, but Raptors first, they might actually be able to secure the red buff, as Slayly is there as well. Window to do dragon, but they still aren't going to do it. And finally, Lopachinski gets a Scuttle Crab right now, as Slayers is left in a 1v2 situation and is holding on for life, kind of white knuckling this lane as he looks to CS under tower and should be able to pick up most, if not all of this. So, Fable ran straight back bot, expects something at Dragon right now as we see the ping goes down on the mini. Covering mid lane as well. Has the Frozen team available, so if they go for a dive here, Become Decker should survive. Oh, that was almost a bait there. And I think Wesleyan Shield, they're hard. Chapter? Is it? Something or other. So, Slightly gets killed. The Crescendo not doing enough there. And even with Lopachinski there, not enough to turn the fight around. And so, on a ward, needs to back off. He doesn't back off in time, and so he gets picked by Fable. Slayers now flashes under tower to safety. And so Conestoga making too many mistakes right now in this. But if you're overconfident, it can be your downfall just as easily. And Become Decker needs to reset as more than enough to kill him right now. Fable is coming in behind for a good gank here. Slayers is going to get caught here as well. It's going to be a clean dive. Fable getting out now slightly. He gets clapped. Absolutely. Fable on this Echo is sitting 5-1-1. I think the Condors were they started with an interesting jump. 1,000 gold ahead of Lopachinski, and that's just rough. That is just rough, right? Up top lane, he needs a good true damage strike, but Kled is so close to remounting. Oh, he has the Frozen Tune, he pops it, and there it is, the shutdown from Sharkive. It goes over to Become Decker. And that's the Condors. But speaking of gold, this tier 2 mid tower is not long for this world, and now Handy Taco is engaging hard on the Slayers, and Slayers just gets shredded by the feathers. And now even slightly, he pops the Crescendo, he just can't get out of this one. And The tower is there, but it doesn't matter as Ruthless gets that kill. Now, Eternity. He couldn't quite find Fright, but he's good potentially find it. Now Fable is there as well. And so Fable is going to get that kill. And Conestoga in shambles. Shambles, I say. Heavy breathing, heavy sighs. Looks of despair. But the good thing is about this finals is that it's a best of 5. Conestoga, they can afford to lose a couple games, and I full on predicted that Illinois, Wesleyan Shield, they would win at least one game in this series. 100% would win at least one game. Now, I favored Conestoga for game 2 here because they've been performing so good. But as we can see here right now is that the comfort for Wesleyan Shield is just too much. Fable knows how to play this Echo inside and out, and it's buying so much, or it's getting so much value for the likes of Wesleyan Shield. But in this fight, Eternity tries to get Sharkive there, but Sharkive rematch now, Become Decker's in trouble there. Handy Taco's there as well for the cleanup, and so Become Decker gets cleaned up by Sharkive. Slightly on this Sona, really feels like it hasn't had an impact. Just flat out, just really hasn't had an impact. Which is unfortunate, because I know he was looking to have an impact with the Crescendo. Now Handy Taco could be in danger as we see Slayer from inside. The Crescendo's there, but Slightly's already dead. And Lopaczynski can't get in either, as the last chapter out of Yumi is too much. But he flashes in, gets the knock up with the Cyclone, gets the second knock up, and there's at least one kill back on to Handy Taco. But that's a very, very expensive kill. And now Fable's there and just instantly kills Slayers. So Wesleyan Shield will rotate to Rift Herald, and in 16 minutes have a 9,000 gold lead. They are well over 500 gold a minute right now, and at that point, they are winning the game. 1,000 gold lead per minute, they have won the game. Over 500, they're winning the game. It's their game to lose at this point, and 20-6 in the scoreline is really all you need to know as well. Fable has just provided so much value for this team on this Echo that it's hard to imagine this game going different. But it all comes down to that first scuttle fight. That's ultimately where this game, I would say, was lost for Conestoga. Lopaczynski greeted for a Scuttle Crab, knowing that Fable was top, did not have vision of Sharkive, and got caught out of position. And then a few other egregious plays by Conestoga, and next thing you know, Wesleyan Shield is this far ahead. It's a greedy build out of Fable 2 with the Medjais already. But it's working. They've cleared all the outer towers. They have the first dragon. They have control, or will have control over the second dragon, as Fable starts that up right now. It is a tech dragon, not a second infernal dragon. I know the icon in the top left is wrong, but that's a spectator bug. You know, small indie company that Riot is and whatnot. They can't have a perfect client after all. So this game really is in favor of Wesleyan Shield. Conestoga, they don't have much of a place or spot to play around right now either, because every lane seems to be behind in some way or form. And when every lane is behind, you feel it. And so right now, Rift Herald gets dropped mid. This will be one tower taken, and I expect them to push for a second tower here because they are ahead and they can force this. And there it is. It is cleared out at least, but that's still a lot of damage onto an inhibitor tower. And inhibitor towers only recover their health to the nearest third. Outer towers don't recover any HP, so chip damage is effective on them. But a Rift Herald is massive. Now Sharkive gets caught out here by the Hex. Cyclone is enough to finish him down there. Become Decker is able to get out of danger in the bot lane too. So Conestoga, they're able to find the odd pick here or there, but really they are just so far behind that they need to invest multiple ults and many resources to. And scraps is not enough to come back into a game. Now we see Fable top. Eternity, he gets a good hook shot. Still not quite enough there as Fable. He's going to look to chase down Eternity and just kite him out as best he can. Eternity flashes the safety and will make it out. But still, Fable has taken over this game. And Vygar, he's at 182 CS. He's nearly 50 CS up on Become Decker. And that alone will provide a lot as well towards the Wesleyan mid laner. And so game 2 in the bag. It's not even 20 minutes yet, and they're already knocking on down from the looks of it. Handy Taco can easily just sit mid 1v2. Condors to find an angle to get back into this game. They have some vision to work around, but definitely not enough. Maybe a cheeky kill here onto Ruthless and Taco could do something, as Slayers is over there. They don't get the Flame Chompers down in time to get a pick. But now Fable, he's going on Lopachinski here. Lopachinski in vision. He gets stunned up and bursted. The Monkey is hunted down, now Become Decker, hiding behind a tower, but you can't hide from the likes of the Vygar artillery strikes because his range is massive and was buffed a few patches ago as well. So it could be still an adjustment phase compared to what you're used to. Now Become Decker gets stunned up on the event horizon. He's chunked low, and the next trade could be last. And it looks like, ooh, close attempt there from Slayers on the steal, but the Baron will handily go over to Wesleyan Shield at the 20-30 mark, which is incredibly quick, seeing as how it was only alive for 30 seconds before it was dead. And so now, with nearly a 13k goal lead, no, that is a 13k goal lead, Wesleyan Shield have complete control of this game. It is theirs to lose. And Fright, he has to flash away. Eternity with a TP gank, trying to make something happen there, just couldn't find it. Shark Dive has free pressure top right now, so top inhibitor will drop, but it's going to be Become Decker TPing to that one, which does save it, fortunately enough, for the Condors, but that's another huge resource invested. Now Fable finding Eternity here. The hook shot is enough to get him out. Fable is going to continue this one. Eternity gets it, that shields his life. Shark Dive, he's CC chained, but the remount happened, or the dismount happened during the Frozen Tomb, so he was actually able to iframe that damage source, and then he gets the kill and Become Decker. He's going hard onto Lopachinski. Shark Dive in a 1v3 is looking to win it, but he can't quite get close enough to the Monkey. And so, Shark Dive still gets drops in the process, 2 Slayers, but still, when the enemy top laner can 1v3 and pick up 2, that is a bad day. And so Condors are experiencing that, and well, this game, if anything, is a testament to the mental ability of Wesleyan Shield. They were close game 1, and instead of letting that loss get to them, they came back strong. They came back firing. Become Decker goes in for a last minute fight, but it doesn't matter as he already gets dropped. Handy Taco putting out so much damage. Everyone's dropping. Fable gets another, and that will be an ace for Wesleyan Shield. And Fable drops in the tail end to the towers, but that doesn't quite matter, as it's going to be Wesleyan Shield. Well, camera. It's going to be Wesleyan Shield here in game 2 in about 23 minutes if they want to hit the Nexus. They pick up the victory. They tie the series at 1 apiece. Yes, they tie it at 1 apiece. So now, Conestoga. Yeah, so now Conestoga, they basically reset their series to a best of 3, which is going to be tough because now they can't afford to make fewer mistakes, and the momentum is in favor of Wesleyan Shield. So I don't know. That was a commanding and dominating game as Wesleyan Shield. So Condors, they're going to have to regroup, rethink their strategy, and maybe go back to banning the Echo because that Echo provided so much value. So we're going to throw it to a quick break, and when we get back, we will see the answer to the problems that the Condors face, or at least their hopeful answer. So, as I find the transition scene, we'll see you on the other side. Okay, so both these two teams, they're eager beavers, not giving me much time to switch between games. And we have a few change-ups already, where we have the Condors opting for blue side, and that means Wesleyan Shield will be on red side. And so the bans, well, they're back to largely Game 1 bans, where we see the Janna Aatrox Echo ban out of the Condors, and Wesleyan Shield. They've banned out the Aurelian Soul, Poppy, and the Wukong. Definitely not giving that champion over to Lopachinski anymore. He seems to be very proficient at it. And so Condors first picked Victor, which had, I would say, a mediocre performance game 1. Definitely put out a fair amount of damage, but struggled early. And that means Wesleyan Shield, they get Jarvan and Veigar. And that's 2 cages. You have the Cataclysm and the Event Horizon to lock someone in, and Victor doesn't have a blink to get out of either of them. So, priority mid would definitely be in Wesleyan's favor there, and definitely an area that we're going to see them look for regardless. And Condors, they opt for the Lucian, Milio? Something like that anyways. Either way, the newest support in the game with Lucian, a long time early game carry. And I haven't seen this matchup before, but I'm assuming it works very similar to the Lucian Nami in a way, where with the extended range, Lucian can look to trade more aggressive more often and earlier too. So we definitely have to be aware of that, where Conestoga, they're basically planting a flag in the ground saying, hey, we're going to go aggressive early game bot lane. Can you match us? And right now, Wesleyan Shield, they've opted for the Samira, who is a very snowball ADC as well. So, more bans coming out, or second ban phase is now wrapping up, I should say. We see the Kled, Yuumi, banned out by Conestoga, which I agree with. Definitely don't want to be given over either of those champions. Where Wesleyan Shield, once more ban out the Shen, but this time target Lopachinski again with a Vi ban. Now, if I had to guess right off the bat, we're going to see a Viego come out from Lopachinski. That seems to be what his third most comfortable jungler is. Maybe the Lee Sin. Actually, I think Lee Sin, maybe. You know, Lopachinski, he's a Grandmaster player. He has some hands, and any jungler worth their salt, from what I've heard, can do a decent Lee Sin. I don't have the hands for it. I'm also older. Oh well. So, maybe a Lee Sin. We'll see. Oh, I completely forgot that Xin Zhao was left out. So, Xin Zhao picked up for Lopachinski here. Ooh, okay. We haven't seen very much of Lopachinski's Xin Zhao, but what we have seen was stellar and also phenomenal. It was a highlight moment where it was a 5v5 near the enemy base. It basically came down to Lopachinski in a 1v2 situation, kills both the enemies, and then ends the game to win the series. Like, it was the highlight play of that series, and he did it on Xin Zhao. So maybe he's hoping for another one here. Either way, he feels confident in the champion. It's a great dueler. It can match some of the engaged potential out of a Jarvan, but I would say he's a better duelist in a 1v1 situation. And we see Rakan picked up as the enemy support. Rakan, just a strong comfort pick support. Gwen, also a staple in the top lane champion pool for Shortdive. So definitely an in-your-face bruiser. And against Ornn, which is going to be the top laner for Eternity, Gwen is favored to win that because of the true damage. Ornn will get incredibly tanky. And really, Ornn's goal is just survive the lane, don't let Gwen get too far ahead of you, and you should be fine. The value that comes from Ornn is that you provide your team with upgraded items that give you about 1,000 gold bonus. So, shall be interesting to see right now. Now. Now, looking at these drafts. You know, I really don't know. I don't know quite what to make of it, because there's a lot of early game focus out of the Condors with Xin Zhao, Lucian, Milio there, or Emilio. It's a lot of early game focus. And with an early game focus, you need to get an early game lead. And we saw last game where if you don't get that lead, if you make a couple key mistakes, you lose the game. But then they have the Victor and the Ornn. So there is some late game scaling potential to help shore up those weaknesses. But yeah, it's tough. It's an interesting draft, 100%. If it works out, it will fundamentally shift what the bans will be out of Wesleyan Shield, because I don't think Wesleyan Shield have a straight up answer for its composition right now. And Wesleyan Shield's composition this game looks very, very deathball-y in a way, where Gwen wants to go in, Jarvan wants to go in, Rakan wants to go in, Samira wants to go in on top of that as well. Viger is the only one who's like, okay, I'll sit back and throw some spells out at you, get my damage in from afar. So if Conestoga can survive that onslaught of damage, it'll be interesting. It will be interesting to see. Whether or not they can do it is another question, because last game, it did go heavily in favor of Wesleyan Shield. So, I have faith in the boys. But, you know, sitting back, taking a longer look at these compositions, seeing the momentum that Wesleyan Shield earned themselves, because they did earn it. They picked up the mistakes that Condors is making, and they punished them for it. Is that game 3 in this best of 5 series? I hate to say it, goes to Wesleyan Shield, which definitely puts Condors against the wall in this series. So I really want Conestoga to win, but I have to give my prediction right now to Wesleyan Shield, which hurts the soul. It hurts the heart just a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, like I think that's mainly everything to mention right now until we get into the game to see how these two teams started up. And so, let's throw it to a quick break right now. We got to build that spectator delay up after all. And so, game 3, I'm predicting in favor of Wesleyan Shield. I'm going to grab some water because I'm not allowed to eat in here. Working, computers, chips, dust, not a good mix. But you at home or wherever you are, enjoy a snack for me. Till then, we will have a quick intermission and we'll be back for game 3. Well, here we are in Game 3 of this Best of 5 series for NECC Champions Great Lakes Divisional Finals. We have Conestoga Condors on blue side, and on the red side we have Illinois Wesleyan Shield. Both teams are tied at 1 game apiece. Conestoga taking the first game, Illinois the second game, and so we have some spicy action here. Now Lopachinski spotted out there, and I don't think Ruthless would let him back or get the ward down that he wants to. So it looks like both junglers playing it safe, actually. Both teams playing it safe with an adapted 5-point start. Victor, now become Decker, is able to get a decent ward down. And maybe a potential late invade here coming out of Wesleyan Shield. Actually, the defensive ward put down by Lopachinski is swept by Fable. And so Lopachinski starts blue side. Both junglers opting for a blue side start. And we will have a... Okay. That's what I was wondering. Slightly puts down the river ward again to make sure that Fable can't sneak behind them. Like with what happened in their UW game. Where the Jarvan was able to have some cheeky clears, which led to some interesting gank spot, which got his team ahead. So eliminating that option, learning from past games, always a good sign. I definitely want to see Conestoga play a tempered game right now. Play it smart, play it safe. Use the vision and knowledge you have to your advantage. If they can do that, I think Conestoga will be in a much, much better place this game than they were in the prior game as well. And so it's going to be an interesting game here as well. Early priority bot does go in favor of Slayers just slightly. They hit level 2 first, and there's Fable, already back bot, was spotted out, and you can instantly see the Conestoga bot lane back out there. And now with Lopachinski just clearing his top jungle, will actually cross the river and invade. So, Fable was potentially looking for a gank bot going over to the tri-bush, but actually just drops a ward there. Clever ward placement by the looks of it. That wasn't actually Fable's ward, it was the ward of the support, Ruthless. Now Shark Eye, taking the worst end of those trades against Eternity. The GOAT doing well, doesn't get the knock up there. Now Shark Eye has a chance to trade back pretty good there. Now Eternity low on mana, but is able to survive and push the wave. Will be down in CS though as Shark Eye collects this safely under tower. Fable does have his red buff and blue buff, and he's looking for a top gank, but Eternity wisely steps back and drops a couple wards to stay safe, because he knows this Jarvan is top lane somewhere, somehow. And so, Lopachinski is up about 1 camp right now. Ruthless trying to go in on Slayers, doesn't find the knock-up engage that he was looking for. So, relatively stays safe. Now, slightly with Milio, uses his, campfire ability there to give Slayers some extra range on his 8 auto attacks. Both junglers secure 1 Scuttle Crab. Eternity is probably going to get a kill here as the Ghost is popped, flashes afterwards to secure it. And first blood once more for Eternity. And I think in all 3 games, Eternity has gotten first blood so far, or close to it. The man's a monster. Now become Decker. He's trapped in the event horizon. Gets knocked up by the flagging drag. Is close to tower, so is able to walk it out. Now Fable took 2 tower shots and has to walk it out. Fright doesn't have the mana to chase that under tower anymore either. But Ruthless, you know, he's doing well there on the recon. Eternity, Shark Eye, still a bit of a wet noodle fight, or a noodle scissor fight, because Gwen wields a giant pair of scissors. But right now it looks like those toy scissors, the ones that you get in the kindergarten class. They have the rounded edges, maybe made out of plastic. Lopachinski having the flash out of that in a dangerous situation. Potentially looks for Fable, doesn't find him. Now Slayers is there as well. The re-engage happens, flashes come out. And I would say overall, Condors win that trade. So they're looking for a little bit more there. Ruthless, he's spotted out. They're potentially going to contest this Gromp right now. But Slayers goes in deep. He potentially finds Fable. No, Fable gets out. Handy Taco is going to be maybe the focus now as well, but Slayers slightly. They're up a river without a paddle. And Fright flashes over the wall, gets the kill there, gets the second. And devastation of the Condors once more. Too greedy. Way too greedy out of the Condors there. Especially with Become Decker not rotating in river. Now, he may have just got back to lane as well, but regardless, that's just unacceptable out of the Condors to be that deep into the enemy jungle, that low HP as well, and just the greed for it. It's just not worth it. And with that, we see nearly a 1.5K gold lead form for the likes of Illinois Wesleyan Shield right now. And I hate to say it, but it looks like Conestoga is back up to their old ways, following behind early. I almost want to play the Name a Better Duo game, but I won't. I'm tempted to, but I won't. So, Become Decker, still down in CS, down in kills. It's just a rough place in mid right now. And Lopachinski, he's up a little bit of CS, but with the 3 assists, Jarvan is feeling just beachy jungle right now. And I think the only bright spot for Conestoga is the turning in the top lane. But you really don't want to be playing towards an Ornn. He's doing just fine by himself, so really you need to start winning other areas on the map, and right now you just aren't. So it's going to be a Hextech Dragon is the first dragon that's spawned. I know we can't see that emblem, but that's what it is. It's a Hextech Dragon. We can see it on the minimap at least. So Become Decker just doesn't have the mana right now to keep clearing this wave. He's going to do his own part, but Fright definitely has lane tempo, I would say. Now Ruthless goes in on slightly, but the super mega fire kick comes out mid-dash and knocks Ruthless away. But now Handy Taco goes in, has a level advantage. Got a fair amount of damage. Knockup comes up, finds Slayers. And now that Slayer's eating so much damage, but so is Handy Taco. And Handy Taco has to back out. Lopachinski's hovering in the flanks there. We see the blue pings go down. They know we're driving in as well. They could have priority here. It could be enough, but Fable, he's got the Flag Drag available, but Fright is there once more. And Lopachinski, he's in a rough place here. Could potentially find a kill onto Ruthless, but Ruthless dashes out. Now it's Fright. He's in danger, but he gets a kill with the power button R. And Fable dashes in as well. Now Lopachinski, he's really in a rough place here, but he's going to find two. Handy Taco, could he find another kill? But luckily, despite the over-aggression again coming out of Conestoga, they even it up with 3 kills apiece. Whew. Okay, Conestoga. Calm down. Calm down. Chill your wings just a little bit. The game doesn't need to be won in the first 10 minutes. You do have an early game comp, but more importantly, just don't throw early. You're doing, after that play, I would say you're doing well enough. It's 5-4 in kills. You're up in gold. Top lane has priority. You can play it a little bit slower, but now Shark Eye is going hard to Eternity here, pops the Ghost, and is looking to chase Eternity down. Can he get to tower in time? That will be the question. He will need to potentially flash. He does draw Shark Eye deep enough into tower that it will be a guaranteed trade 1-for-1 there. Potentially a mistake on a Shark Eye, but gold on a Hyper Scary is always valuable. And yeah, Eternity's up 700 gold right now. Nearly 1,000 for Lopachinski. Vigar's up in gold. Handy Taco's up in gold. Ruthless is about 100 up in gold. So yeah, so it's pretty even across the map, except for I think it was mid and top, where that's where you're seeing, or no, jungle. It was jungle. Jungle for Condors is where there's a gold disadvantage. Now Slayers dashes back to tower. Fable comes over the wall. Slayers flashes in for Fable, doesn't find him as his ult was still active there. Now slightly being hunted down by the Handy Taco. Fright is there with speed, with momentum. They're trying to ward off Lopachinski, but he gets stuck by the tail edge of the event horizon. He goes in on Fright, gets a bit of damage across, and Fable is able to walk out the other side. So overall, 1-for-1 kill, and I would say that gives Dragon priority over to Conestoga, but they are not opting for it right now. Potentially worried of a objective trade as Fable paths top. Now slightly trying to do what he can with these minions, but Handy Taco diving deep and now is in potential in a worse spot, but Slayer is just taking so much damage. He's eating it. He's trying to dodge it, but you can't dodge auto attacks by weaving back and forth. So Handy Taco gets a 1v2 kill diving past the outer turret, which, to borrow from Cadrill, is illegal. You should not be able to do that. That is just against the rules. But now there's a rift fight. Eternity's coming in with the Oran Horn. It finds one. Now it's Fright going to go down, but Decker stays alive with a sliver of HP. And so Conestoga find a little bit of spotlight, of sunlight in this game on the top half of the map. Because the bottom half is just sliding away from them right now. You have an 0-7 bot lane. At this point, you cut your losses. You do not put resources into Slayers or Slightly right now. You just cannot afford to. You need to play to your winning lanes. And even if it's unfortunately a tank top laner, you still play towards it. So Become Decker, Lobachinski, they're looking to get 3 tower plates here as the Rift Herald crashes, does indeed get it. And so Conestoga with a 1k gold lead, mainly from objectives now. And they're going to be looking for Fable over the wall, but he flags and drags the wall himself. And overall, not a bad play. Maybe potentially a bit greedy because they guarantee you they're sitting on a fair amount of gold. And Lobachinski on 1,600, that is a lot of gold. So Eternity still winning top lane. Man's a monster, already has a finished mythic, working towards his boots. Great knock up there, and you can just see Shark Eye just can't withstand the chip damage and pressure that Eternity is generating for himself. And look at the audacity out of Eternity, recalling that close to the tower. Become Decker actually has a level lead right now too, which is great to see. Ruthless goes in, Handy Taco's here as well. It's going to be a full-on engage coming out of the Wesleyan team, and as I finish that sentence, the fight already wraps up. Slightly dropping there. 0-8 bot lane. They're falling further behind now. Lobachinski gets caught in this tri-bush. Fable gets the knock-up. Ruthless with another one. Handy Taco with a third one. But Become Decker's there. They're turning it around. Handy Taco does get the kill on the Slayers there. Lobachinski now needs to turn this one alive, but he has to get out of there as Handy Taco's just too strong. Does get the knock-up, but doesn't matter as Handy Taco gets the execution. And Fright kills Become Decker. And once more, Illinois Wesleyan take control of the game. And I don't think that Condors have an answer for the likes of Handy Taco right now in the Samira. The Samira has so much value, is getting free tower plates and solo tower plates too. Slightly does have exhaust available, potentially trying to look to stop Handy Taco there. Does actually cancel the recall, but he could instantly be killed. Is killed, doesn't even drop the exhaust. Slayer's trying to do something now, but he can't do anything. And so the Condors bot lane, well, they're continuing their trend of last game of being in shambles, which is unfortunate. Now Shark Eye once more trying to chase down Eternity. Eternity's doing just fine. He's a bit lower on HP this time around, but, you know, he's clapping back. He's proccing those brittles and definitely doing the most he can. So Lobachinski, he's looking topside, looking for a kill onto Shark Eye, but Shark Eye backs off in time. Oh, no, he walks in the tri-bush. Lobachinski, he should have this kill here. The Oran Horn comes through and misses on the second proc. The Ghost is also popped. So that means the Dragon priority goes handily over to Illinois Wesleyan Shield. And so they will pick up the first Dragon. Now, because the first Dragon is being taken at nearly the 15-minute mark, we won't see an actual soul until the 30-minute mark, I would say, give or take. So this is a very delayed soul Dragon if either team wants to play for it. So, Illinois, they have a great bot lane. Their mid lane's doing just fine, always has been. And for the Condors, they have a good mid laner, good jungle right now. Those are their strong suits. Their top laner's holding his own. But the bot lane, 0 and 10 combined. That's rough. And I don't want to harp on it, but I kind of need to, because right now Conestoga is losing the game by putting resources towards their bot lane, by trying to bail them out of fights or collapse to try and turn it around. And it's just not working right now. If they get a kill onto Samira, that shutdown of 700 gold is massive. Can they actually get it though? That's a whole other question. Because right now, Samira is already at 2 items with completed boots. She is a full item on everyone else in this game. That's scary. Like, cool. 4k gold lead between the AD carries. Slayer's not much of a champion, but a great dash there to escape Fable's Cataclysm. And now Shark Guy pops the mist there to stay alive. But, well, there's not much of a but. Does stay alive there. Now Eternity trying to trade back, but Shark Guy pops the ultimate there. The 1,000 cutting needles, something rather. But the Ram Horn comes through and he gets the clap with the flash. And now it's a fight mid lane as well. Lobachinsky going in, but a huge ult or knockup by Fable. Handy Taco tries to get something, but Deckers in the fight. He's going to be doing something, but it seems like both teams kind of walk out of it now. It was a 1-for-1 trade in the mid lane and a 1-for-0 in top lane. So ultimately, Conestoga coming out ahead. But still, that's another kill going on to the Samira. And the Samira has the Collector, which executes opponents below, I think, 5% HP. And now Fright. Oh, Slayers. Oh, no. Oh, it was close. But Fright manages to get the kill onto Slayers. And honestly, at this point, Slayers is worth nothing. The more times you die, the less gold you give over when you die. So really, he's not giving over much gold, if anything, right now. It's still not ideal. And it's a good look. If they get that kill, then that's gold into Slayer's pockets. That could be the start of something. But right now, it's just looking rough. If the Lucian or Emilio show their face, they could instant die by nearly anyone. Lopachinsky looking for Handy Taco. Doesn't land the wind before lightning, so can't find the audacious charge engage that he was looking for. I don't know if you'd want it anyways right now, because that is a very scary Samira. Now Eternity Shark Guy still having their wet noodle fight, which is par for the course. Fable also has the second Rift Herald, so the gold lead for the likes of Wesleyan will blossom here within the next 2 minutes, I would say. It will go from the 1.5 it currently is to probably about 3k. That's what I'm predicting. Fable is going to find Slayers. Slayers with a good dash out. And I'm expecting Rift Herald to be dropped here, get the mid tower. The Flag and Drag a little bit too far away that time for Fable to engage. And next Dragon, 50 seconds away. Could be a fight for it, but I don't think Conestoga really want to take a fight right now. As the Rift Herald drops, Slayer's dashed. I would say more out of reaction than anything else, or a reflex dash. But this Rift Herald will take the tower. Ooh, it doesn't. That's actually massive that it doesn't take the tower. It provides Conestoga with a little bit more leeway in this game. A little bit more position to fight for, because they have the tower backup. And we get a quick pause. Just a quick pause, by the sounds of it. We have a mouse DC issue for one of the players. So, you know, technology. Can't live with it, can't live without it. So I'm sure once the mouse gets reconnected, we will get back into this game. But until then, we can look at game state. And right now, game state is surprisingly even. It's one tower apiece. And it actually looks like Conestoga potentially has the health advantage on the towers, seeing as how both mid and bot tower are kind of low. But right now, Illinois do have map priority. They're out on the map more. They have better vision. Because if we look at the vision on the mini-map in the bottom right corner, we see that they have 5 wards up towards Rift Herald, which they had just taken. And then they have, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, potentially 4 wards, pink wards on the map, definitely 3, which is good to see. And Conestoga, I think they have 3 wards. They have 3 wards and then a zombie ward or a blue trinket, which is definitely not a lot of vision. The map would be completely dark for them. I wonder if I can I do that right now? Oh, I can. So there we go. I can toggle the fog of war, and you can see just how little of the map Conestoga actually sees. So they have a pink ward in top try, they have a ward in bot pixel there, and then the trinket near the raptors. So that is not a lot of vision. And now, to swap it over, you can see how much more the map is lit up for Illinois right now. They have great vision top side, great vision bot side. Fright bot feels completely safe right now with that vision setup. With the pink and try, with the red buff bush. It's just a lot of vision to play around. It means that when Conestoga looks to retake this objective, they're doing so blind, which means that Illinois 100% have the advantage. And now we go back to the default view for us, and we can see that they're charging, looking for Handy Taco. The charge comes back, and oh no.
A summoner has disconnected.
Okay, small spectator bug. We go back 15 seconds in time. Hopefully it irons out. Okay, so there's the charge. This is where we left off. The charge back comes out of Ruthless. Fable with engage, doesn't find anything. Double TP comes through. Both top and mid laner, they're looking for something here. Otherwise, they should move straight to Dragon. Great reactive TPs coming out from Conestoga there. And so, as 5, they will look to take Dragon here. We do see that Shark Eye, I think, is recalling to buy and then TP in. But the Dragon's already dead. Slayers gets popped. Eternity, he pops the Orange Horn, but it's blocked by the Wind Wall from Handy Taco. Fable goes in, and that's a whole lot of AoE damage coming out of Illinois. And it looks like the Cum Decker's down. Ruthless is down. Handy Taco gets killed as well. Lopaczynski showing up huge right now. So much sustain. Eternity doing what he can, but it's just not enough. And now slightly, he's running his legs off. He uses the super mega fire kick, but it's not enough. And Shark Eye with the ghost is going to chase slightly down. Fright's there as well. And so, Conestoga, they get the Dragon and then lose the fight. They still got 3. They got the gold shut down off of Handy Taco, which is something. So overall, the gold might be close to even in value for that fight. But map advantage goes back over to the side of Illinois as they open up that mid tier 2 tower and now have a tower advantage. Also a TP advantage as well. And also, because I like saying and so, and also, I like saying and maybe a lot to start my sentences with. Good thing I'm not writing, or this is English class. So, it's my filler words. That's what that is. So, and so, also, they're filler words. Better than saying but, or making random mouth noises. The technicalities of shoutcasting aside, Baron is up. It's a Chemtech Soul. So it is not Infernal Soul like the icon indicates. It's Chemtech. We get the fancy plants. We get the extra plants. We get the more powerful plants. It's just a plant to full time. Yeah, that works. So, Baron is the next objective for at least the next 3 minutes. Illinois is probably the only team of the 2 who are able to, I would say, successfully take it. They're up about 3,000 gold, like I predicted a few minutes ago. Fancy that. And now, it's just a vision fight. Conestoga has Scuttle at least, which guarantees them a little vision in that river for the next about 30 seconds, I would say, before it times out. And Fright is just hammering away on the tier 2 top tower. Or is it tier 1?
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
I don't know. On the outer top tower. And it looks like a fair amount of the Illinois players are up there as well. Eternity has Shark Eye down to about half HP, but Shark Eye found a lot of gold in that last fight. And is looking for more here. Eternity does get the knock up, looking for the brittles and the extra procs. The clap is enough, but it still falls a little short there. Shark Eye manages to stay alive. And that's a one fight for Conestoga in and around Baron, but they didn't get any kills. But the pings already go down on Baron.